Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So this is the part 2 of the video. So guys, if you look at my neckline, you see it's a little bit wider than her own, and like I said in the part 1, I don't want my neckline like fitted on my neck. So if you want just like her own, it's still the same method. All you have to do is just to do, like, instead of using, I use 3.25, right? So you can start with 2.5 or 2.75 for both the width and the length of your neckline. That way, after you've taken away the seam allowances from it, then it will still be high on your neck. But like I said in the previous video, I don't want it fitted on my neck. That's why I use 3.25 for the neck width and the neck depth. So just stick to 2.5 or 2.75, and then you can reduce it or add to it from there. So guys, now to cut the skirt, what we need to do is we are cutting the same for both the front and the back. So you're going to go ahead and angle your fabric. This is an A-line skirt. So just like how we cut A-line, you're going to fold your fabric like this. Just tilt it, your Akara fabric like this. You see, it's forming like an A already. So you're going to tilt it in this form all the way to the end like this. The more you fold it, the more flare you would get at the bottom part. So now after that, you're going to make sure that you have about 1 inch. So guys, you see, I've gone ahead and marked the 1 inch all the way down, and now what you're going to calculate is the length. So the length I want my dress to be is 58, right? And then if I minus my half length, which is 17.5 from it, that is going to leave me with 40.5. And then to this 40.5, I'm going to add 1.5 to it, so that is going to be 42. So my skirt length is going to be 42. That's how you're going to calculate it. So now you're going to first rule a straight line here. So guys, now after you're going to rule, you'll see that I ruled a straight line and then half an inch with it. This is going to be my seam allowance at the top, and then I'm going to go ahead and insert my waist measurement here. Your waist divided by 4. There's not going to be any dart here, right? But because of the difference between my waist and my hip, if I go directly, normally you will not add a dart, but I'm going to add a dart because the waist difference compared to the hip is too much, and it's going to make it like an angle. You understand? It's going to make it pointy by the hip, just so to bring it in a little bit by the waist and still make the fabric just go down flare like this. I'm going to be using a dart. So what I'm saying is, if the distance, if like the measurement of your waist to your hip like is not too much, let's say your waist is here and then your hip is somewhere here, so come down your waist to hip. For me, that is 10. My hip is at 42. Sorry, my hip is divided by 4 is going to be 48 divided by 4 is 12. I'm going to mark it. So if I connect this to this point now, my waist divided by 4 is supposed to be about 8.5, somewhere here. So if I connect it like this, it might be hard to sew it in a little, and I don't want it to be pointy like this, right? Not that I can't do it, but I would rather not do it that way. So I might just go ahead and still add a dart to it just to bring it in. It doesn't matter. So I'm just going to do maybe 2 inches here, 1 inch of that and 1 inch of seam allowance, and then to the waist I'm just going to add 1 inch of seam allowance here. At this point, all you have to do is connect from here to here, and then from the hip go down straight out. But some people like to just go ahead and just connect from their, once they mark their waist measurement. Another way to do it is, once you mark your waist measurement, just go ahead and put your straight ruler and just blend everything in and go down straight. You understand? Just blend it into the angle, like the line of your cloth, like this. Just go like this and just continue with the A and just go down like that. You understand? Right? But you just, if your hip is wider, just make sure that whenever, like if you are going to just go directly from your waist out, make sure that the measurement of your hip fits in here, because it will be bad if I go ahead and use this line and then only to find out after cutting it that my hip is still going to go out here. Then I'll have to start again, right? So all I have to do at this point is just to go from here now and measure the length of my skirt, which is going to be the 40. Instead of 42 now, I'm just going to do, because I've marked half an inch here, I'm just going to do 41.5. So I'm going to mark 41.5 distance from here all over to the end. So guys, what you're going to do next after you marked the whole length here, we always do it in an A-line skirt, is that you're going to go up here at the end by 1 inch and then blend it into the skirt, because if you don't do it, this outer part is going to be pointy when you're done. So like, this is the original length of my skirt, the 42 that I marked, for 41.5, right? And then this is coming up here 1 inch just on the side, and then blend it into the rest of the line. This will help the side not to be pointy. So I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to cut from here out into my waist and here. And this piece here, I'm going to cut 2 of it, one for the front, one for the back. This is seam allowance here in front is for the slit. The seam allowance here at the back is for the zipper. So guys, so once you cut exactly the same pattern, you see both the front and the back, they are the same, right? Both on a fold. This one is on a fold. I've gone ahead to split this one open. That's why you have 2 pieces of it. So the one at the bottom is my back. This one is going to be the front panel. If you look at the side, I came down here by 3 inches from the top, and then I left like 5 inches opening. This is going to serve for the pocket, right? So let's just leave that and then move over to, let me remove the back panel so that we can go ahead and finish up the front. So how we're going to achieve that slit in front is that we are going to reduce this piece that we have here. Instead of 1 inch for the front, because remember when I was cutting it, I was saying, oh, the front is going to have 1 inch for seam allowance, the back is going to have 1 inch for seam allowance. That was so that we are going to be able to cut it easier with just knowing that is 1 inch. But the one in front, we are going to go back in and reduce it a little bit more. So you're going to go in now and reduce this. Instead of 1 inch, we're just going to cut off some of it and leave like ½ inch to it. And then after that, you're going to go to that end with that ½ inch and add in the fabric again that you're using. Whichever fabric you're using, go ahead and add it, and make sure that the width is 3 inches, right? So use ½ inch to join it. So let me go ahead and reduce it by ½ inch first. The seam allowance of 1 inch, go ahead, split it into 2, like reduce it to ½ inch of seam allowance. And then after that, go ahead and join this piece here to that ½ inch that you left at the end. And then we are going to go ahead and tackle the rest. As you see, I've removed the ½ inch here now, you see, so all the way to the end. If you look at it, you see that our seam allowance here is just half all the way through. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this here, but I'm joining it. This is the wrong side. If you look at it, you see the part where I joined the cloth to it. So towards the wrong side, I'm going to open it, take this here. This is the wrong side of my fabric, and this is the right side. This is the wrong side of my ankara, this is the right side. I'm going to just take it here. The right side of this here, facing the wrong side of my ankara, I'm going to sew it, because after sewing it, it's going to be flipped in towards the inner part, right? So you're going to take it, join it to this end here, do the same thing on the other side, join it towards this. So guys, this is it here. So like I said, you're going to use the wrong side inside here, and then this is the right side of my clothes. I'm going to go back in and reduce this a lot more and leave like 1/4 inch at the end here of the seam allowance. So the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to stretch out all this part here, stretch it out, right? And then I'm going to sew on this part here. I'm going to be sewing on the blue part, not the main clothes. You understand? The part I'm going to be joining together now is at the very end where this blue part meets the akara. So I'm just going to follow it, pull it tight, right? And then just stick to that line entirely. If you want, even before you join it, go ahead and double stitch this line so it doesn't rip, right? And then go back again, hold the 2 of them together like this. And then at the very end here, where this line, where this stitch is, and then you're going to continue all the way to the point where you want your maybe if you want, you can do from the waist to like 22 inches down or 23 inches down. That is where you're going to stop the seam, right? But make sure you're not sewing on this part here, because if you sew on this part here, when we go to open it up again, this inner part of this will show. That's why I'm saying you're going to make sure that you're stitching on the blue part of your cloth or of your skirt, right? So let me go ahead now and stitch on this blue part. Once it's done, I'll bring it back. Guys, this is what I was saying that we should do. So once you do that, you see I made sure to stick to like very close to my initial seam here, so that when I open up my skirt, you will see that when I open it up, I have two pieces of this in between here, but now I'm going to open the two up like this. You see what I was saying? I'm going to, if you look closely now, you'll see that you notice some of this my color here. So wherever this color is, I'm going to go back in again and redo it, because if I split this open now and iron it, this doesn't look right. So the parts where you're still seeing this color visible, I'm still going to go back in again and redo it. But in the meantime, let me show you what I'm saying. So you're going to stop where you want. You can stop at 20, you can stop at 22, right? So let's say you decided to stop. For me, I stopped at 20 because I saw that 22 was too long. So once you do this now, go ahead and iron these two this way, all the way to the end of the skirt. This one facing this direction here, all the way to the end. This one facing this direction, all the way to the end, right? Just like this. And then our next step is going to be, you're going to take it one after the other. Go towards this direction. Like you're going to pin it down. Iron it, guys. Take your time. Iron this thing flat. And then go ahead, fold in 1/2 inch on this side like this. And then continue your stitch down all the way to the end like this. To the end. Like to the end of the clothes. And another thing I want to say is that when you get to this point here, double stitch it so that it doesn't come loose, because this is what is holding the end of the slit, right? So you have to go back and stitch it properly so that it doesn't come, like it doesn't lose when you're working. So now I'm going to go ahead, iron this down. First of all, I'm going to correct it to make sure that this color is not showing here, and then I'm going to go back, and then each side I'm going to stitch it down like this, and then this side I'm also going to stitch it down like this all the way to the end. And once it's done, I'll just take my back panel, join one side to the other side. So I'm going to take this side here and join it to this side here, just like this. Take the other side of the back here, join it to this other side of the back side here. Insert my pocket on this side, insert my pocket on this side, and then join my upper bodice to it. Add a zip, and that is basically it. And so this dress is done, and if you look at it, you see that I added a dart here. If you look at her own too, you see that there's a dart on her own too. As long as you're making it this neckline with just a simple dart, you won't need to add a dart here. But there's, if you want to use a princess dart, I'm not sure how you're going to go back in and put this black thing here, you understand? So I find it easier to just use an ordinary dart and then just give it a dart after you're done, right? By the side here. That way it will be easier to attach this here. Because even with a princess dart, after adding a princess dart now and then putting this in, right? You might still need to add a dart still. It might still need, even if it's just 1 inch dart. So I just tried mine out and it needed a dart and I added it. So now you can see where my cup is going to be when I wear it. It's almost like a princess dart, but it's like added after. So now for the shoulder, like I said, you can use bias to turn it over, like the distance from the back to the front. But all I did is just fold mine in, iron it down, and then stitch it down. Then for the bottom part, all I did here, so I added a dart here in front, and then I also added a dart here at the back. So now I added a dart here at the back, like I told you guys. Then you're going to join the bottom part of the skirt to it and then put in your zip. So you will see my dart here. It's very short at the back. It's like 5 inches here, and then in front it's like also the same, like this one is like 6 inches in front. And then I also have a pocket here. To add a pocket, like I told you, see my pocket here, you see, is with a lining. You're going to come down like 3 inches from the waist, right? And then you're going to sew it. You're going to sew from 3 inches down to the waist here, and then leave 5 inches open or 6 inches open in here, and then continue your seam all the way down to the end of your skirt. But how you're going to attach the pocket, let me pull the inside so you see. So see what I cut here, it's about 7 inches of width and about 9 inches of length. And then you're going to use, you know, my side seam allowance, right? You know, see my side seam here, 1 inch on each side of the skirt, right? So I attach one side of the lining to one side of the seam allowance, and then the other side of this lining to the other side of the seam allowance. All I had to do is just close up the upper part, close up the bottom part, and I formed my pocket. You understand? Started actually right here. So I just closed it up like 3 inches, like I told you guys. Half an inch of the other side of this lining is sewn here, half an inch of one side of this lining is sewn here, and then close up the bottom part, close up all the sides, and you've already formed your pocket. And that is basically it concerning this dress here. So any question you have, you can just ask me in the comment section. Guys, this dress is very easy to make. It's just that it has many details that you have to pay attention to. But other than that, it's just an A-line dress with an halter neck top. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.